Hey everyone, Andrew here, bringing you another video review, and today we're going to be continuing More Phenomenal Week and finishing it off with my re-review of the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers Dino Megazord. Take a look at this bad boy right here. Now, I know, I reviewed him before, I know. But that was a quick and rushed review, and I felt as though I didn't quite get, it wasn't quite as good as it could have been. So this review will be a little bit crisper, a little bit cleaner, and a lot better. Real quick, a little information of the Dino Megazord. He is the first Megazord that shows up, given to the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers and their combined powers of their Zords. He serves as their primo badass through all of Season 1 of the Power Rangers. He would come in and all the other monsters would be like, oh fuck, there's the Megazord. And he would kick all their shit. He would have his little sword and he comes up and just slashes them. I mean, this guy is a complete badass. And then he's there until Season 2 where Lord Zed shows up, fucks around with the Power Rangers, and eventually he disappears where all the individual Zords become the Thunder Zords. Really all of the information I can give you on that. His primary weapons is his Power Sword, which again he can do that little move which he goes around and a circle comes up and splashes. And he has his Mastodon head as a shield, which he uses like twice. So, really, what a waste. But, yes, this is the Dino Megazord, and let's get into the individual figures themselves. Okay, on to the individual Zords themselves. Let's start things off with the Mastodon. Now, the Mastodon right here is the Black Ranger's Zord. The Mastodon was actually one of the cooler looking Zords, and it actually did something in combat. Usually most of the Zords, well not most, but some of the Zords would just sit back and do nothing. But the Mastodon would actually at least put in an effort. It would have some kind of mist come out of its trunk and spray the enemy and freeze it, so at least it's something. Mastodon's colors are black, while having green eyes, yellow on the stickers along with red and a little bit of white. And he has gray for the feet and the trunk and the horns. So that's the basic color scheme, nothing too in-depth, nothing too colorful. There's his ass if you wanted to see the Zord's ass. It's right here. That must be a horrible poop. Really, it must be horrible. But yeah. I've always had a soft spot for the Mastodon. I've always thought it looked cool. I mean, it comes out of this big frost and it just goes pretty badass. But yes, that's the Mastodon in its entirety. Very simple, has very little articulation, if any, and it's just the legs can kick up. Really, that's nothing at all. I know the original had the trunk could move, but this one doesn't. So on to the next one, and that would be the Pterodactyl. Now, for the sake of displaying, you actually put the cannons here, and I guess that acts as pterodactyl feet. I don't know, that's a weird feat. Shooting lasers out of your feet, messed up. So let's just take them off for the sake of the review. Put them right here so I don't lose them, because God knows if I lose them, I'd have to buy another Megazord. Pterodactyl! The Pterodactyl Zord belonged to the Pink Ranger, and surprisingly, this has no pink on it. Now, I think the original Zord in the show did have pink on the back area right here, I want to say, in the head, but this has no pink here. The Pterodactyl Dinosaur also tried to put in a little bit more of an effort than the other ones did. It was an aerial Zord. It could fly around and shoot lasers out of its wings or various different points, but it did that very rarely and not enough to impress me. The Pterodactyl is the only aerial Zord that the Power Rangers had at this point. Eventually they get the Falcon Zord, but that is way, way down the line. And, you know, in theory it could be one of the more useful Zords, but because the fact it wasn't used that much, its usefulness is really not that big. As for cosmetically how it looks, it really doesn't look like a Pterodactyl. The main reason for this is because, well, it's a test piece for the Megazord, so it's gonna, one of the figures are gonna suffer, and it had to be the Pterodactyl. So it's not that impressive looking. I mean, look at these stubby little wings. Really, those are really small. Color scheme wise, it has basically red for the chest along with yellow, gray, black for the stickers, white for the head with red, and then gray for the back of the body. She also has a little bit of blue in there, but not much. So that's the Pterodactyl. Moving on, Triceratops. Triceratops is a cool looking Zord. It always reminded me of a tank. Now the Triceratops belonged to the Blue Ranger. If you didn't notice, well, the Triceratops is blue, so there you go. This really didn't do too much in combat alone. I think once in a while it shot lasers out of its tail. Not sure. I think so. But really, this guy didn't do too much in combat. But he did look badass. He did look like a tank. It would have been really great to see him ram into one of the bad guys and have his horn stuck in there. And just have the bad guy trying to shake him off with the blood sticking out. Well, it's a little graphics for the Power Rangers, but still. Triceratops colors are primarily blue. It has black for an underbelly. It has yellow on the head for the stickers with red, gray, and black in the inner stickers. Gray for its tail and its horns, and white on its head. But again, primarily its color is blue because it belonged to the Purple Ranger. Obviously, the Blue Ranger. So yes, there's never been a Purple Ranger. There's been Rangers that wore purple, but I don't think there's ever been a Purple Ranger. Even in Jungle Fury, that wasn't a Purple Ranger, was it? No. Never been purple, never been brown, and never been an orange. Although in SPD, one of them had a dream sequence. The tech guy had a dream sequence about being an orange ranger, but only a dream. Next is the saber-toothed tiger. Saber-toothed tiger belonged to, how would you guess? The Blue Ranger, yellow, pink, green, black. How about, yeah, the Yellow Ranger. The saber-toothed tiger was always badass, coming out of the tree. It's definitely the most animated out of all of these Zords, next to the T-Rex Zord. Unfortunately, it really didn't do anything. Like I said in my previous video, she would just start running out looking like a badass, and then the only thing she would do is have her period. She'd do nothing. But articulation-wise on this dude, she actually has slightly more articulation than the other ones, but a lot of good that articulation does, because you can really only pose her in one pose. She has a yellow color scheme with red, blue, white stickers, a little black and red on the top, gray for the legs and the tail, along with the teeth and black eyes. The black little cute nose there, ooh. So that is the saber-toothed tiger Dinozord. And then moving on to last but certainly not least, the T-Rex Dinosaur. Now the T-Rex Dinosaur belonged to the man himself, the Red Ranger Jason. The T-Rex Dinosaur is definitely the dinosaur that can do the most when it is out of Megazord mode. It can actually get into combat, it can strike, it can whip its tail, it can shoot a breath weapon out of its mouth that goes into the ground and causes an earthquake, so it can actually do something. And it actually holds itself in combat. I think it actually held its own in combat against the Megazord one. But yeah, it's definitely one of the better looking Zords. Despite its short, stubby arms. I guess I have a soft spot for it because the Red Ranger is my favorite, but its mouth can open and close, arms can move up, its legs can move, its tail can move, so it has a decent range of articulation. On the whole, the color schemes are gray, black, yellow, red, and a little bit of blue for the eyes, but really not that in-depth of a color scheme. So that's the T-Rex Dinosaur. So with that said, let's get these badasses transformed, and hopefully this won't be a long video like my last one was. So, on to tank mode. Okay, before the Rangers actually put the Zords in Megazord mode, they have a in-between mode called tank mode. And this shows up in every single episode, but it was really only used for combat purposes in a few episodes. I know it was definitely used in combat purposes for the first episode, but tank mode. It really doesn't look like a tank, but we call it that anyway. First thing you want to do is take the Triceratops, stick his legs so it's out like that, like a gun. Same thing with the saber-tooth tiger. Take this bad girl, stick the teeth up like that. That's like such the most minor detail, but you have to do it. Take the legs, stick them in like that, and tuck those bad girls right in there, and then stick the cannon out like so. God, I'm saying like so. Don't you hate it when people say like so all the time? Mainly Transformer reviewers, but take the Tyrannosaurus and get its legs tucked in like that, and its tail out. Keep its tail out for now because you're going to have to adjust it later, and then stick the arms up. And then take the legs and stick them in. Like that. And you can adjust her if you want. Went out a little too far there. Some people like to have it tilted a little bit more forward. I think it was like that in the show also. So tilt it a little bit forward, like that. And then we're almost there. Next thing you want to do is remove the Mastodon head. Just decap this son of a bitch. Take the handle and stick it onto the chest of the T-Rex. Don't worry, you'll get a better view of the figure in a bit. Separate the Mastodon, so it's like that, and then have the legs out, or the arms now, or the cannons, I guess it would be. Take the cannons from the Pterodactyl's feet and stick them on here. They always look bigger in the show, but I'll let it slide for now. What you want to do is you want to stick this into the, use my leg as a prop, stick this into the back of the T-Rex and lock them into place, and just situate the cannons so they're sticking out, and then lock the tail into place. So let's get this bad boy going. And last but not least, the Pterodactyl goes on the back. However, the Pterodactyl tends to be a bitch sometimes. It doesn't stay on the back, so you really do what you can. And that's basically Megazord in tank mode. It would shoot lasers out of its cannons on the legs and also the arms. But mainly they would shoot lasers out of the eyes of each Zord. Again, this is an in-between mode, so take a look at this. It does look pretty badass, though, despite the fact it does not look like a tank. It still kind of looks badass on a whole. It's actually, I would want to get another Megazord just to display it in tank mode. Too bad I have no money. But yes, that is tank mode. Again, the Pterodactyl is supposed to fit in there, but I never get her right, and just not worth it. I mean, really. So, that is tank mode. So, we will transition him into Megazord mode in just a second. Okay, let's get this bad boy transformed into Megazord. That's what we all want. First thing you want to do is remove the cannons, or remove this Pterodactyl if you didn't already. Stick the cannons on the back, right here, where the Mastodon feet are. Just stick them on there. Take the hands and rotate them around. So you're going to tuck the feet in there. You're going to take them and tuck them in here. Like that. So they make the hands. I remove the Mastodon head and don't see that again for another 2 episodes because it only shows up in 2 episodes as a shield. Take the cannons of the 2 legs and kind of stick them in there, the Triceratops and the saber-tooth tiger. And then you want to bring the legs down, and get the feet all situated. So it's like that. There you go. Bring the arms down, bring the shoulder pads up, bring the shoulder pads up, rinse, wash, repeat. Take the chest, open it up, and then take the dinosaur head, and if you want to come down, sometimes you gotta work with it, but there's like a certain angle you have to move the head down. Tuck the head in, and then once it's actually in there, close that up. Pterodactyl comes flying out of the sky like a little bitch she is, tucks her head in, tucks her wings in, somehow still flies in this position, lands on the Megazord, locks into place, and then we have the horns that come out. And Megazord sequence activated. Gotta say. So here is the Megazord itself. Articulation, barely any. I mean, its legs can go up, but that's about all. The arms can go up and around, but that's about all. Well, it can kind of come in like that. So he's going, what up, dog? So, but that's about it. I mean, the head has no articulation at all. That's about all. I mean, this is based off a figure from the 1993. It is slightly a reissue, but for the most part, I mean, you're not going to get much articulation out of this bad boy. And just stick the shield and the sword in there, and then we are complete. So let's just take a look at him. On the whole, he's an impressive-looking Megazord. He was always my favorite completed Megazord. He just looks pretty badass, pretty standard. He looks like he's going to kick the shit out of you. You knew that the Rangers were in a good spot when they called upon the Megazord because, you know, he could take care of business. Chicks digged him. Guys wanted to be him. I mean, he was the Megazord. Obviously, there's more combinations with this Megazord, but you need the Dragonzord and Titanus to do those. Which hopefully they reissue the Dragonzord and Titanus, but you never know, they might not, which would suck totally. What I really want them to do is reissue Titanus, the Dragonzord, the Thunderzord, the White Tigerzord, and Tor, the turtle. But I really could care less about the Ninjazords, although it would be nice if they were reissued too. So let's just take one more look at this bad guy. Again, impressive looking figure. You can get him for $24. I recommend getting them soon because these guys are going quick. I recommend going to Walmart to get them because that's about the only place I've seen it so far. I would recommend a Super Walmart more than anything, but that is the Megazord itself. Hope you guys enjoyed this review. This re-review, really. This is second time me reviewing this guy. The first time I was a little rushed, so with that said, I'm going to end this video here. This is Andrew, saying peace out for now.